Well, hello everyone and welcome to a new build. Today we're going to actually start working on AMT's Anakin'S Podracer. This is a really cool kit that I wanted for a long time. Very neat. The engines are beautiful, all the piping and everything on them. This is the older version. I know they just released a new version, and I figure when I finally find one of these at a good price, they go and release another version of it. But it's a very cool kit. Simple build. Takes up very little space on your shelf, but nice size enough that you got a lot of good details. So we're going to be lighting this guy up as well. So let's get started. Well, hello and welcome to part 1 of Anakin'S Podracer. I did some stuff, off camera before. Really, all I did is take the engines are in 4 pieces. If you can see that up here, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. So here's 2 that I glued together already. Here's 2, and then of course 2 and 2. And that's one engine, and this is the other. So I glued those together. And then what you do have to pay attention on which one goes where. But you can basically line up some of the details, especially like on this one, because the 2 halves go together. You'll have that bump up here, which I drilled out because that's going to have another part glued on top of here. And then the little laser that goes, the little beam that goes between the 2 engines is going to go this way. Like that one's that one, and here's this one. The engines sit like this. And there's that beam that goes between them, between the 2. That's where I'm going to have a flickering light. So I drilled it out for the flickering light. I'm going to put one on each engine and just stick it right in there. And I'm going to use a white, and then I don't think I'll have to, I'm going to see if I don't have to color it. Because the part is a clear purple, so I'm hoping it'll have a brighter whitish kind of here, and as it goes through it'll get more purple as the light has to travel through all that plastic, and hopefully it can. And then we got to do the engine outtake, and plus with this being white, I'm thinking hopefully, since most of the bulb's going to be sticking here, only the little dome part will be here, and then there's a part that goes over top. I'm not sure where that is. There's a part that goes over top that makes the real tiny hole that it's right here. That makes the tiny hole for the purple clear part to go through, the little energy beam. But most of the bulb will be sticking out here, so I figured I'll just hit it with a little yellow and maybe dot it with some red and some spots to give it like a fiery glow. And that should maybe, I'm going to hit some silver in this front half. Actually, I might do it in both halves. Hit this all with silver to reflect the light, and maybe it'll come up through the engine grills here in the front. The little turbine engines. This part I'm going to actually paint yellow, which is this here. Like those are intake blades. I keep going off the fence. They say do yellow, or do I do them in aluminum? And maybe the outer edge yellow, I'm not sure. But I think I'm going to do this all yellow, and then the inner part, make that look like the fan blades. And do that silver, and then this outer part do yellow. I think that's how I'm going to do it, so it looks like it has because this is supposed to go in front of that, like that. And I think that'll make it, you'll still see the silver fan blades in the back, but these yellow ones will be like they're protected grid. And then on top of this gets the little nose cone, goes over top of that. So that would probably be best if all that's yellow. And I'll glue that together before I paint it yellow. These are already hit with black, just to kind of light block them a little bit. And then I'm not sure what I'm going to go with. I think I'm going to do the zinc for the engine, or the galvanized tin for the engine to give it a metallic metal look, but not overly shiny like silver. It'll give it that cast engine block kind of color, sheen to it. And then I think this darker zinc I might do this part, and then and then I might try the silver on these caps that come out of the engines and make it look like they're stainless steel. And then they'll get, smoked up and everything too when we do the weathering. But, so yeah, I glued the two halves together. Hopefully I have this correct. I always want to check. See, no, that's not the right parts. They don't line up. You gotta make sure you have there we go. Because there's holes that it should line up with too that are right on the seam. And there's some detail, and that helps you even with especially the first parts to make sure all that matches. So that's one engine, and this is one engine. Yep. But that's that. But the another thing we got to do is we got to get these lights going in each engine first. So I did do a light block pass. I put these pieces in first too. That's these little tubs, which will have the flaps that open. But somewhere in here we're going to stick, I might just glue a sprue and stick on a 5mm flickering bulb back here. I'm not going to worry about if it blows light backwards into this grid. There's a little see-through grid that you can see in there. I figured if the LED's sitting in here, and then this goes on like that. The LED sitting in here, any of its blowback or any light that bleeds through into that grill would be kind of cool effect. And it'll be blue, but the intake in the engine area, I'm going to try to make more of a yellow. Yellow with a red, yellow reddish kind of amberish, I guess would be a good way to say, color. And then that little blue back here, like it's really hot back here, that blue flame. And then with this, you got to drill. This actually goes back, glues to the back of this thruster, and then that's how this glues in. It fits in that hole, and it only goes so far in, and then that's how that glues onto the back, for the thruster. But we need to have light come through, and it was a solid disc. We need to have light come through there somehow. So I just decided to just draw some straight lines through the center of this circle and drilled a couple holes so we can get light to come through. So I just drilled, a bunch of holes around the circle so we can get light come through. So when this is glued in, then we should still get light coming around this cone. So we can, I actually just did that, so we can actually glue that part in. Like I did here, this one's good. And this will do all, I think, in this zinc. And yeah, so we can glue this. Where'd that ring go? Did it stick? There it is. So we can glue you in really quick, because you're getting all one color. I have to put a little bit on the inside. I guess that none will matter, because you're not really ever going to see in there. There we go. We'll wait to glue these, because I'm going to make these look like they're like a stainless steel that can handle the heat. And I think that'll give us the contrast we want in the different, metals. Having this darker than all the rest, but still has that silver flake in it to give it a metallic. This is that galvanized tin, which will give you that metal, cast metal look. but not too shiny where it's like silver. It's close, but it has enough dark flake in it that it'll pull contrast. And then once they're all dirtied up, but that kind of helps differentiate the difference in the silvers. If you can do that. I mean, I could just do it all one silver like they said. Well, they say back here, do a gun steel. I wonder what went on that one. Oh, those other two are in the... Yeah, so there's so many little parts. And then all these little pipings I'm going to do on the sprues. I'm going to do some in a copper, some in a bronze to give it like a brass piping, and then I have that like the antique bronze and then the regular bronze. Just to give each one of these lines a different kind of... I'll do like a pair like these here, I think we're going to do in the regular bronze, and then there's a bunch of these here we're going to do in the antique bronze, which is more of a gold. Or I could even use the rose gold. I think that would be better. It's a goldy copper. Yeah. And then the rest we'll do in the worn penny copper. So, but I'm going to paint those on the trees. That's way too many small parts to get lost. Most of the where it attaches to the sprue will be hidden because that's where it plugs into the hole. So I just got to cut all these annoying little bumps off first. For everywhere here, that's where it attaches, so they hit all those points fairly well. Well, when these two halves are together, that's when these go on, and that's where the wire goes in to hold the engine up to simulate it's floating. And that's how we're going to run the power up. We're just going to twist. I'm going to use magnet wire and just twist a positive and negative up the metal wire that holds this up and sneak it up through that. So I might want to drill another hole in this piece to have the wires go through, something different than the hole that it goes through. We got to set those pieces down, and it's got to go into this piece too. So I wonder if we can glue these two pieces to that first. And then I can set it on here while I have the two halves together and drill a hole for the wire close to that hole, so the wire only has to loop over just a little bit. That's probably how we'll do it. Oh, and that's flashing, so that can get cut off. But we'll clean up all those seams when we glue it together. Yeah, where is that piece? Of course, it's got to have a lot of garbage on it. Here's one. Yeah, I don't know what's up with all these little blue nubs, or these little plastic nubs. I'm not sure what the deal with those are, why they make those in the cast. Are they air releases where it gets air out as they're pouring the plastic into the mold? Hopefully the way the pin's lined up makes it off center with the blades, and it does. Perfect. Good deal. But yeah, so we can add these parts, these yellow parts, on afterwards. Put this together and hit her with some silver. Put a little tape in the LED there, but I think it'll be far enough back that I won't even hit it with any silver. But I can stick some tissue in there or something. But we do want to hit some silver in here anyway too. Well, hello and welcome back. I got a couple things a little further. Got the engine bells painted. I did a what was that? It's not the galvanized tin. The galvanized tin is what I'm going to do the body of the engine. This is a This I did in a zinc, and I did this in a shimmering silver to kind of give it that stainless steel kind of look to it on the thrusters. The nose cone of the engine I did in yellow. It's in two pieces. Well, actually three. It's the nose cone. There's a circle fan blades there, which I did yellow. And then this outer piece, which I did the blades silver and the outer part yellow. And you can kind of see the silver blades in there. So I got those two done. I got these bottom cover pieces started and started doing some detail. I did this in a silver, so that'll give some contrast to the galvanized tin, and painted that tank red and gave it a couple shiny scuffs on both of these. It's gonna be hard to see, but especially with the red tank blends in with the red. So I just glued these parts in because I needed to do that to figure out, because there's the hole for the stand that holds the engines. So I'm going to put that, I'm going to drill another hole for the wiring right behind it. So when the stand wire comes up and goes up in, and it can loop and then drill right straight through. And I think it comes through this part where it's flat. And it should fall. It just goes this way. If I put it just behind, right in that grid, it falls right where this pipe is. So I can come right up here straight center and then just, you know, drill a hole. I don't know. I'll drill a hole there. That's the thing. It's like right in a split. It couldn't be here where, on like that, where I could do all this with the engine in half. So I'm going to have to guesstimate. I have a little wiggle room with the wire because it's going to come up a little bit through. And I'm going to drill a hole right about there, I guess. I'll make a little notch on both halves. Put them together and make a notch right at those points about both halves. That way we can stick a tail up. Yeah, see, there's the issue too. Otherwise, I gotta have the entire wire for the coming out of these engines. And I guess that's what we're gonna have to do. And I'm gonna use the magnet wire because it wraps around those little wires tight. But what else I did is I got some white flickering LEDs, painted them with the transparent blue, but not the very dome end. I want a little bit of reflective blue to come through and maybe shine through the engine grills in the front, because part of that, you know, almost half of the bulb is sticking out in here. And then, but I want this to be white to shine through that purple energy thing that goes between the engines. But that's basically where we're at. I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to do that together. I'm probably going to bend the negative down here. I glued a piece of sprue here for the actual engine thruster lights. I'll just do something like that, where it will sit like that and blast light that way. I'll grind the dome off there so it spreads a little bit better. But yeah, I can just super glue that. And, you know, having these wires go through this little grilled tunnel, you'll never really see them. It'll look like piping. So, but that's where we're at. I'm going to keep trucking and try to get, you know, I'll probably bend the negative down to this negative. And then the wire that comes through just jump right onto there. And the positives, I got to put resistors on and go from there. Okay, this one here I pretty got some of the wiring, or at least the bulbs. I wouldn't say much wiring. I stuck that one through. This is going to be the one that's going to send light through that energy beam. it's not painted blue on this end here, so that'll shine white, and then the purple of the plastic will give the color. But then I colored it a little blue in here, so it'll give maybe a little bit of blue in the area where this engine cover will go, that front end. And then I glued a sprue back here and have this one supported on it. I cut the dome off so it'll spread a little wider and hit that blue. Glued it to that sprue, and then I bent the negative of this one to meet the negative of that one and just soldered those two together. And then the wire that comes through here, I also did the notches there for the wire. And that'll get completely covered by this and you won't even know. But yeah, then when the negative comes in it can just jump right to there and get both bulbs. And in here, I bent those over, cut, put resistors on them, twisted the two resistors together because then the power will feed this and then go through each resistor for each bulb. So we're about to do that on this one here. I already tied the negatives together, bent down and tied the negatives together. So we just got to do the positive side. And got this resistor already ready. Okay. Got this one ready as well. Can I tin that one? Yeah. Already pre-tinned the LED spots. And then all I did is just take the two of them, bend them away because I'm trying to keep a little room here. And get them up to each other here. And I just give them a twist. Twist the two together. We got plenty of space because we got a whole nother dome over here. And then we'll solder that twist together. Still hot. And trim off that excess. And there we go. Now they're both ready to accept some main power feed, which we're, like I said, I think I'm going to use the magnet wire. It's very skinny and it hides really well on that wire frame that's going to hold these up. I did it with the Ramen inverter Prey, the small one. I got the bigger one to build yet too, don't I? I don't even know where she is anymore. There it is up there. I like to do that one. Get all the old TOS stuff. Original series stuff done. So we're going to use the gold as the ground. So it's just going to go as far as right there. Let's see if we can get that to solder together. Beautiful. Now can we do the same to the positive? Make a little hook in. A, it'll give it a little more strength. And B, well, pretty much A altogether. It gives it a little more strength. Probably should have done that with the negative as well. Now it's hooked around something. And we can just tuck those down in there like that. Now we got to see how long those wiry things are. I hold them up. And I think they're in these bags here.
Yeah.
I think these are small because they sit close on the stand. So I don't really need that much. That's great. I forgot to take the red out of the... so I can get the length. Plus some. That's more than enough. Hey, that's pretty close. Yeah, now I'll come out that notch. Everything seems to be pretty snug in there. If I would take a 9-volt battery, they both should light up. Sometimes I can get a 9-volt battery to hit the very tips there. There you go. And they're flickering. So there's that side, and we can close this up. Yeah, they even have to make that other notch. Yeah, that's good to close up. So now let's make a little bit of a hook. Go. That way we use the strength of the wire and the solder to help it not tug and break loose. I don't know where or what they're going to in the base, so. And it shouldn't matter if that comes close to touching that, because that one's touching. So it's coated. And that one's working good too. Okay, yeah, so we can glue. Get some of this revolve out. Now what we'll do is go in these channels like we did last time before. And it's channel on one side, and channel on the other side. Alright, we're good to go, right? Yep, nothing going in here. Another thing, get hit with some of this. Tack it. that the Revell glue can dry. Alright, do to this one next. You're gonna be a pesky one. There you go. Alrighty, well, we'll just let those sit, and then we'll probably have to run a little more of the extra thin in there to fill some of the imperfections, and then we'll give it a light sanding and go from there. Let's see how this one keeps popping. This is how we're going to be. There's no particular way this goes on. It's just going to snap on. Well, once we straighten all that out, but let's see if we get any. There we go, everything's working. Oh yeah, and you can see a good amount of thrustering there. I was hoping a little bit would leak in that middle section there. And that's will be feeding the laser beam that goes, or the energy beam that goes between the two. Of course. I like to step back a little bit. Yeah, I'm liking that. That gets more than enough. Yeah, that'll look cool. So this is a pod, it's not a ship. I'm getting a little glowing in the cone. I'll just go inside there and hit it with some black. I was wondering that. I didn't like black. the inside of these cones, so I'll just take one of my long brushes and there's a little black in there. I was kind of afraid that that would do that. But hell yeah, I'm happy with that. And this light here is working good. And what goes there will be this purple, like, energy thing. Yeah, hopefully. I wonder if I can cut this off. I'm going to want to cut it way out here just in case for now. I know some of that's got to go in there. Oh yeah, I think that'll get it going. We'll see. But yeah, that's where we're at. It's looking good. I don't know if I can try to do another trick and flip it upside down and what areas I want to set. When I look down through the front, you see it. I didn't want a whole lot of light coming out because it all should be thrustering out the back of the engine. I didn't want, I didn't want it to shine light through, out through. Like here, it's pointing that way, so it's actually pushing the light out, and it'll actually glow the back of your hand. Here, I just wanted some bleed through, so when you look through the grills, you can see something, and that's what we got. So that works perfect. So even like at an angle, you can see some light. Yeah, that'll be perfect. So even from the front, you'll see a light glow, but then from the rear, you'll get hammered. So that's exactly what we want. So there we go. We'll let this set and cure. And then I can actually finally paint. I'm so happy right now that now I got a lot of little pipes to paint. Copper, brass, and bronze that go all over this. So hopefully that'll work. Now here's it's going to cover the bulbs for the energy beam is this little piece here. It's actually this is one half of it. And then here I got to cut that off, and then it has a little point that hopefully will focus all that light to that. In between that and yeah, I don't know if it's going to grab enough of it. It's a small little point. But awesome. There we go. A little update on the Anakin'S engines. We're getting there. This is the main part of the whole kit is the engines anyway. So once we get all that done, that's most of the build. But this is what I'm talking about. I got all these pipes to paint. ×2. It's the duplicate for each engine. I think what's going to happen is some of these here I think are going to be the bronze. They're all the same. And if that's the right parts, they go this way on the front of the engine. And sequential, well, there's 4 so it'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4. And then these here, 1, 2, 3. I think there's a 4th one. Might be this one. Those will be brass. I'll do a rose gold, which is that coppery kind of gold, brassy kind of. And then all the rest of this, these small ones, will be, and these two, will be the worn penny copper. That way I have different colored piping going on there. Instead of, they just want it all copper, but some fittings on engines are brass. Sometimes the brass is old and it got hot, so it changes color to like more of a reddish copper, which would fall into that bronzy kind of issue. But hey, let's let this cure and we'll come back another day. You know, we got the flaps here that I did paint, and these are the hinges that hold them, and I'm going to make them so I can move them. I'm not going to glue them. I want them so I can still open and shut them. So sweet. I don't know if we can do that with those big ones that are in the front. Those 3 big ones. I don't know if we can do it to those. But anyway, I keep oh, see, you do 1, 2, 3. The 2 of the bigger ones. It looks like there's a big one, medium one, and a small one. Oh, so you can choose which one you want. Do you want them more closed, do you want them medium, or you want them wide open? Those are like, have hydraulics. They're supposed to look like a hydraulic system. I'll probably have it in the medium, where it's not closed like this, but it's not wide open. That's probably what we'll do with that. But anyway, till next time, thanks for watching.